Hi, so I'm Ian Strachan, the business coach, and subjects came up about how we engage the team, why we engage the team, when we engage the team. And it brings together a couple of core principles. You see, one of the core principles we use a lot in Action Coach, we talk about the 6 keys to a winning team. Okay, the 6 keys to a winning team starts with strong leadership. Okay, strong leadership is about it's why you're on the call. If you're going to listen to the entirety of this video, then you're demonstrating strong leadership. Let's get some good writing on there. Strong leadership is about having your head up above the trees, looking out to the future, to what's coming next, being aware of dangers, being aware of opportunities, and actually having a vision for where the business wants to be. Actually having a vision for what the business looks like when it's finished. So strong leadership is about that higher level thinking and being in place. And then once we've got strong leadership in place, then that's actually how do we communicate that down to the rest of the team so that they all are on with us on the same page. So we talk about having a common goal. Right? Think about a game of football, right? We all know where the goals are, right? Same big white bars at the end there. That's the goal. Everybody's playing towards getting the ball through those goals. That's what they're working towards. And this is the same in business. How do we then, with our vision for where the business is going, go, right, so this is what it looks like when it's finished, and this is what it's going to serve, and this is the purpose that we're here for. So having a common goal is about everybody pointing in the same direction. Once you've got everybody pointing in the same direction, well, frankly, you want them all to behave the same way. So then you want to start stating the rules of the game. Okay, let's go back to that game of football. Everybody turns up on the pitch for a game of football, understanding what the rules are for a game of football. If you turn up to that game of football with the rules for, I don't know, Irish hurling, it's going to be a really, really different game with a vastly different outcome, and not the one that you actually turned up for in that day, or what some people turned up for in that day. So understanding how we behave, so having that strong leadership, which is the view of where the business is going, having a common goal so we're all pointing in the same direction, but rules of the game talks about how we behave as we're progressing down that route. And then once we've actually worked out, right, so we're heading in the same direction, behaving in the same way, then it's about putting an action plan together. An action plan is, right, these are the individual actions I want you to partake of in order that we head towards this common goal. And I want you to behave in this particular manner, the rules of the game. What we've got to appreciate then as business owners is, okay, if we're going to give this level of autonomy, we've got everybody to agree on the rules of the game, we've got everybody to agree on which direction we're heading in, the next thing is that stuff's going to happen. So you've got to support a little bit of risk taking. Yeah, which then means unless you understand really, really well your process of delegation, situational management, don't even think about going down this route. You need to understand situational management, understand the process of delegation before you can support risk taking. And you actually have to know your core values and your culture of the business in order to know you've got the right people making the same kind of decisions that you'd make. The final point on that then is 100% inclusion. Or in other words, massively, massively, massively over communicating. Now, the interesting thing that comes out of all yes, and the final key of the 6 keys is continuous development. Continuous development, education, tapping straight into the fundamental human needs of continually wanting to grow as people. Now, the interesting thing that sits alongside that is if I actually wanted to bring our team on board, okay, rules of the game we can decide between the team. The action plan, though, needs a team on board. The risk-taking means you need people on board. The common goal needs to be agreed between the entire team. Everyone needs to be bought into it. Unless the team have commitment to that common goal, then we're never going to get that cohesion and get that momentum running. And Lencioni talks about it. And Lencioni talks about, right, in any team, there has to be, any team discussion, there has to be an element of trust. Okay, Lencioni talks about the 5 dysfunctions of a team, which is an absolutely bloody awful way of going about it. And what he was trying to say was, in the team, there has to be a level of trust. You have to be able to have a bit of banter. You have to be able to understand that you can be vulnerable in that meeting and it's a safe place to be. And Lencioni talks about, right, how do you build that trust? How do you build that situation where anybody can bring a point up without fear of being laughed at, mocked, or derided out of the building? So you talk first about a team actually building so much trust that they can actually have open conversations. Because when they can have open conversations, then whatever is put forward, they can challenge. Whatever viewpoint is made, it can be expressed and can be fully explored. This means that people in the group can then be heard, and everybody should have a voice in the team. Everybody's voice should be heard. Okay, so I've been in meetings, and we all have sat in meetings where somebody said something so patently ridiculous that you think, well, where the bloody hell? What planet? Where are they from? What are they thinking about? Even that perspective needs taken on board, and then fully exploring with trust and with challenge, so that everybody in the team is heard and their perspective is understood. Because when everybody believes that they've been heard, I mean, really, really heard, and their perspective explored, then you start to get the commitment. Notice the 3 stages to get to that. We have to build the trust in the team that their perspective is valid, that they can speak out. Then we have to have a real, and venture out refers to it as a lack of conflict is the problem. So that's actually, so we can challenge the perspectives so that we get the commitment, because everybody feels they're heard, which is why having the common goal is so important. It's so important that everyone in the team understands the common goal and it has been discussed amongst the team, because if it hasn't been discussed amongst the team, we don't get to the point where people are going to take accountability. They're not going to be committed to that common goal. So the reason we talk about this is if we're trying to bring teams on board for the next big project, understanding that there's 7 keys to leading the team, which start with that strong leadership. This is the direction we're going in. The common goal and goal. Everybody understands that goal. We've been through this process and everybody's on board with that goal. Then rules of the game. Again, having that challenge, having that conversation there. Then an action plan. Again, everybody's heard, everybody's got an input to the action plan. So we get committed. Then people can be held accountable to their own action plan, because hell, it's their action plan. They built it with this process. Therefore, they're committed. Therefore, you get the result if you've got an action plan in place. And then in our management and our leadership role, supporting risk taking means really delegating well, understanding situational management and taking people through the process, putting in place good KPIs, putting in place good OKRs, over communicating it, and let people continue to grow. Those are the keys that run together to start driving big projects. And unless we understand all these parts that run together and make them work in the business and develop these over time so they're endemic to us and habitual, then what we'll find is that the team members don't seem to pull in the same direction as we do. They don't seem to have the same common goals. They don't seem to have the same aspirations. They don't turn up for work on time in the same happy way, and they don't appreciate the wins the same way that we do. Putting all this together, piece by piece, and understanding this is a process we're going through. We're building the trust and the commitment in this aspect whilst we're going through these chain of command. Then we actually start to get complete cohesion and people pointing in the same direction. And then we can start looking at the routine kind of things of KPIs and OKRs that the team are committed to drive us in the right direction. So that's just a quick run through how we bring teams together on a common goal and on a common project. I'm Ian Strachan, the business